This is the discussion. We have 3 special guests. We have...
They love us.
What?
They love us.
You got them, and you got the one and only Ransom himself. Today we are at Ransom Supply. Today we're going to talk about who Ryan is, his story, how he came, and just going to tap in and figure out who he is and get into it. My first question is, so what inspired you to get to where you're at now?
Man, I mean, yeah, it's definitely been a long journey, I'd say, to get where I'm at now, but it's just, a process of learning all bits and pieces of retail. So over the years, I did everything from being like a fit model when I was really in my youth and had no idea what fashion was, but I just kind of got my foot in the door and could peek behind the lens and really see what happens in the studio and what happens with production and all that. And I just kind of kept following whatever unfolded in front of me. So I never thought I would be here doing what I'm doing now, but it's because I put in work in all areas of the business for other people over time. And it just made me ready when this opportunity came to be able to actually execute at the level I would want.
Do you think more so the opportunity that you created has helped other people?
For sure, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think that also shows that like it is okay to take risks sometimes and learn along the way. Like the biggest challenge for me when I was younger, and even still to this day, but it is just like putting out work and also pushing through when you don't have the resources that you think you might need. I wanted to start a brand when I was younger, but I always felt like because I didn't know exactly how to do it, that I shouldn't do it, or like if I didn't have the, plug for getting blanks, if I didn't know where to screen print, if I didn't know how to design, I was just like, oh, I don't know it. I'm going to be like, a fake, an imitator, just like trying something that you don't have business trying. And then once I grew and I started working for bigger brands and bigger companies, I realized they don't know what they're doing either half the time. And it gave me a lot more confidence when I felt like I at least had a vision. I at least knew what I wanted at the end of the road. I don't know how to get there, but I might as well try. And all the trying really started because of the pandemic. At that time, like I was and still am like a freelance photographer and a freelance stylist. So that was like my main bread and butter, and all of that type of work involved being really close to somebody, and all my jobs got, delayed, paused at first, and then completely canceled. And then we went into lockdown and couldn't get unemployment, and I'm looking around like, damn, so I'm not allowed to work. All my work's like canceled, and I can't get unemployment from the government. And I just naturally am somebody who always has kind of an entrepreneurial spirit and like hustle by nature. And this whole brand initially started because I was just at the grocery store one day, and I have asthma. My parents were essential workers, and I looked up and somebody was wearing a face mask, and I was like, damn, like, should I be wearing that? And this was before the mandates. It was before they were everywhere. But I went back home and I just Googled like how to make a face mask, and I realized I had everything already. Like I know how to sew. I already have fabric from old projects I worked on. I had elastic, just random things that just accumulated in my basement. So I just brought it all into my studio, started chopping it up, and posted on my Instagram story like the whole process, because there was nothing to do also. So I was just like, oh, make a face mask today. And the first one was trash. Second one was a little better. And by the third one, it was like, okay. But I was using cool material at the time. I had some like crazy organic Turkish cotton that was made from like my homie's towel brand that he happened to start, and it was really cool textured fabric, cool color palettes. So I was able to make things that looked aesthetically different than your like N95 and your just classic like nursing mask and all that.
Oh, you were making masks?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dang.
So I posted that on my story, and the next morning I woke up and my homie who's a nurse was like, "Hey, can we get some of those? Like, we're running low over here." And I was like, "Oh, what?" I was like, "Yeah, what for sure." This is when it's lockdown. I have nothing to do at all, so I just start making some more. More people started DMing me, and then I was just like walking around, Short North, and I took a picture with my mask on, and I just posted on Instagram like, "Yo, if anybody needs one of these, just add your name to the list. Like, pay what you want." I wasn't trying to like really charge. It was just trying to stay busy. I woke up the next morning with over 100 emails on this list, everybody wanting them, and I was like, "Oh, damn, like this is kind of crazy."
Right.
And then I just went to work, and I just started banging out masks by the hundreds every week.
That's a blessing.
And then they made the mandate a few weeks later. So then
You start going
I was like,
crazy.
shit, I need a website now. Got to call it something now. Then I like brought my mom on board because she's the one who taught me how to sew. So I would like send her fabric, and then I got linked up with Face Mask Aid out of New York City, and they were kind of this organization, this nonprofit that was supplies to everybody who was out there making masks at the time. So they started shipping me fabric and elastic and all types of things so that I wouldn't have to like leave the house to go to, Joann Fabrics or Target and try and like get scrappy with supplies.
Right.
Because this is when you couldn't even find elastic at the store, mind you. Like, it was really tough to even get supplies. So all that just turned into this like random business I had no expectations for, no vision for ever doing. But I realized like, okay, now I have an email list. I have people who are supporting me, but I'm also able to be creative through it. Like, although it's a mask, I'm still using like my photography to make it look aesthetically cool, and just doing different things that a lot of people weren't at the time. But
You found your lane.
I found a lane, but I never wanted to be the face mask guy. That was the biggest piece of it. I was like, this makes sense for right now, but this isn't like who I am or really what I want to represent either. So then I was like, let me try a bandana, because it's still kind of on the same page. It like, you can wrap it around your face, but it is also like a piece of art.
Yeah.
You can also style it. Like, I used to just wear bandanas around my neck. So I put that out. People still bought it. People were still really into it. And I was like, okay, let me try a hoodie. And I just like slipped that in there one day. Everybody went crazy for a hoodie. And I was like, all right. And then I like took a minute. I stepped away. I was like, let's just turn this into a brand and see what happens. Like, if I was doing this project for a different client, like, let's do it that way, and actually try and put some real effort into it. And now they lifted the lockdown, so we were able to like leave and all that. And I was just so like cooped up in my crib. My homie was going out to Denver for the summer or for a couple months, and he was like, "Yo, I got an Airbnb out here. My job is paying me to work remote. If you want to drive with me, like, it's a 2-bedroom. You can just stay with me for as long as you want." And I was like, bet. I was like, I'm out of here. So him and I just did a road trip to the West Coast. I posted up in Denver, kind of just worked on this real lightweight business plan and strategy for how to like start this brand. And then I have my other friend, Andrew White. He lives here in Columbus. He's a photographer. I had him come and meet me out there, and we put together this like mini campaign for the first collection. And we hit like Joshua Tree, and we hit Utah, and we hit New Mexico, and we just did this really cool campaign for my brand the way I would for another client, but just like super scrappy, no budget, but just making it happen and making it different than a lot of other brands out of Columbus, where maybe you're just shooting on High Street, or you're shooting in the same places everyone's already seen and are familiar with. So by me placing myself in these different environments, it opens up my brand to not just be like a local brand. I never wanted it to feel like this is Columbus. I wanted to come from Columbus, but I wanted it to be like,
It's more than that.
yeah, not necessarily global, but like it can be seen anywhere. So that's why I've always tried to push it to be shot and seen in different places outside of here.
So yeah, I was on Instagram one day, right? And I think I want to say I seen you modeling for Dickies.
Probably, yeah, yeah.
So what's the story? What's the story behind that?
If it was Dickies, that was probably the collab with New York Sunshine. Those are some really dope guys out of New York. Obviously, I met them in Miami for Art Basel at a basketball tournament, and they're just like the coolest creative agency that also does design build and does film, and they have a clothing brand. And Soul Classics picked them up when they did their Dickies collab, and that's probably what you saw. I ended up being the model for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love those guys.
To go back a little bit, to tap in, you said like you had the passion for like fashion, style, and design and all that. So what got you into e-commerce fashion industry?
That was what got me in was randomly a pull tab walking out of class in college, and it was like, want a model? And my friend's like, oh, you should grab that. And I just tore it off, put it in my pocket, forgot about it. A couple weeks later, someone sent me a link like, oh, you'd like these shoes, and I like checked it out, and it was called Jack Threads, and it sounded familiar. And then I went to like my jacket pocket, pulled this tab out, and it was the same brand.
Yeah.
So I just like sent them. This was a long time ago, so I just sent them my Facebook link at the time. Like I didn't. This was before Instagram. I didn't have a portfolio. I was like, here's some photos of me.
Right.
End up going in and getting this job to be a fit model there. And then as soon as I walked in their studio and I realized what this business was, I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where I fit in, but like I'll figure out something. So I started out doing that, but quickly always kind of asked like, how else can I help? Like, what else do you need? So that led to me being a production assistant, just kind of lingering around and doing whatever was needed. And then that turned into them giving me an internship to be a footwear buyer. So they were like, this is where you really need to be. I was like a junior in college now, and it made more sense for me to learn real things that could lead to real places. And that I had a huge passion for footwear, still do. So that's what really got my eyes exposed to e-commerce, and yeah, I just never looked back.
So would you say you were saying that like photography is where it started? Would you say that's like your first love?
My first love, I mean that's like my first creative outlet that I felt confident enough in to share with the world.
Right.
I would say I didn't honestly start shooting until I was probably like 26.
Oh, okay.
So I started behind the or in front of the camera. I'm sorry, modeling, and then I had worked with so many different photographers over the years and picked up random skills and understood how to do things that I had no business knowing how to do.
Right.
But I just didn't have a camera. So then I remember one time I was shooting with someone and I was like, no, let's do it like this. Like telling the photographer how to do his job.
Right.
But I was like, I think I just need to get a camera and try shooting myself.
Yeah.
And then me and my friends, like I linked up with a couple guys who were all on the same kind of entry level wave. Like we would just ride bikes and keep our cameras on us and just shoot all around the city. And we just did that for like a year, just creating content for fun. That started leading to some random paid gigs. And then once I realized like, oh, this is a pretty decent like extra bit of income I'm making, like I wonder what happened if I really tried. And then I just continued to develop over time. And yeah, I've always loved photography, but that was probably the first real outlet that I had.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where does your style and like creativity and designs come from? Is it like a you said you went to the West Coast, so does it come from like a West Coast type of?
Yeah, I mean, my style, it kind of changes throughout the week. Like sometimes it's more graphic heavy, like you'll see with a lot of my merch, but most of the time it's really minimal too, with neutral colors and muted palettes. Just timeless style that kind of always will go with whatever wardrobe. Like I don't really wear anything too loud and flashy. If I do, it's for like, a special occasion. But yeah, I'm inspired by definitely travel, outdoors, getting in nature, everything from like mindfulness and meditation that kind of slips in through my apparel too. I've always got some subtle messaging that I'm putting out there, but yeah, I mean, I really got my style from my mom. She used to dress me up when I was a kid, and I think I just stuck with it. So
Yeah, I like the colors, but like not the neutral, the natural colors.
Mhm.
It's like,
yeah, all earth tones, muted palettes, but yeah, that's what I try to stick to.
it's different too because like nowadays a lot of people are so tapped into trying to like make the loud
Yeah.
fashion, like the heavy, like one the heavy attention getter, I would say,
hmm
where it's like that's not what's really gonna sell the most
No.
nowadays. A lot of people like the basic.
Yeah, I mean, and some of the pieces are loud in their own way, but yeah, I mean, people come to me for the graphic tees, definitely. But yeah,
Are there any styles right now that you're not a fan of?
not a fan of, not too much, man. I think style changes pretty quickly, and I've grown to appreciate things that will last. So getting good quality pieces and not so much on the fast fashion. I want to buy things that are still going to actually be cool in a few years,
Right.
and not something that's just with it for the trend right now.
Trends die.
Trends die, and they go in cycles too. Like it might
Oh,
come
yeah.
back in a few years. Like I still hang on to, shit from high school. Like one day it's gonna be good again.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I don't hate on any styles. I think as long as you're confident wearing it, then that's what it's about. You gotta feel good.
To tap in, I mean, coach, tap into styles. What you rate Quaa's outfit here?
This is a
That's him. That's
That's
Quay.
me, yeah.
That's Quay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just me.
I'm gonna give him a 10. He's
Appreciate
showing up
it.
as
Thank
himself.
you.
You know,
Thank
you can't show up trying to be someone you're not.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Hey man, when you're a hooper, you gotta dress up.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is
I
it.
might have something to do after this. You know what I
Right.
mean? I might be playing somebody 1-on-1.
Wait, Ryan's better than you.
Me and Ryan played against each other.
And what
Too
happened?
long.
Too
Too
long.
long.
What
That's
happened?
probably since I was like a sophomore in college.
Yeah. There was probably a time I'd say I was better than Quay. I don't think so now. I'm more on that semi-retired wave, but Quay's still out there.
Yeah, we still play with each other.
Yeah, trying to get in shape, trying to hold it down.
Tap in on the hooping session. You had a recent event last weekend.
Yeah. It's called Heat Check. It's a charity 3-on-3 basketball tournament presented by my brand, Ransom Supply and Soul Classics. Land Grant was the host of it, and the charity's Gladden Community House. So all of the proceeds go towards supporting those kids and giving them the right infrastructure for sports through their youth programs. A lot of that funding typically goes to like housing and food, and they never really get to support sports. And that was something that I didn't know about. So this was our way of trying to emphasize helping that part of their business, because sports definitely kept me out of trouble when I was a kid, and I think that's what all the kids really need.
Yeah, I think it's more like the message behind what the events are. You know?
Yeah.
The true meaning of like, hey, why are we doing these events? Because a lot of these people just host events just to like, make money or to gain publicity or something like that. But like when you're giving back, especially to the community's gonna give back to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And this event is different than a lot of other ones I've done in the past because it is not about making money. Like there's money to be made, but it doesn't have the same energy that you're putting into it when you're trying to really just sell like a product or a ticket or drinks or whatever. This was more about bringing all different people in our community together that usually don't mix. So half of the team, we had 16 teams, half of them were on the retail side. They were either clothing brands or stores, boutiques. The other half were kind of bigger Columbus brands and staples. So you got like the Columbus Crew and Jenny's Ice Cream, but then you got, Soul Classics and Made & Co. And those customers, those supporters usually don't mix and are in the same place at the same time. So if we can bring like the whole, reach of Columbus together, then it just like elevates everybody and shows how much we do support one another instead of it being so competitive all the time. Like it's just a different way to compete.
Yeah, and you're spreading awareness.
Yeah.
On like the charity events and situations that, like you said, like that charity is sponsoring like to help people with housing, food, and stuff like that going forward to make them off in a better situation.
Right.
So Yeah, that's crazy. How was the overall event itself?
It was good, man. This is the second year we did it. Unfortunately, we ran into some weather issues both years, so we finished the tournament on Sunday, so we needed an extra day to power through. But yeah, it was great, man. We got third place. Coming back for first next year, so yeah, might have to pick up Quay. Definitely
Have
needed a
to.
shooter out there. Yeah.
If you had to choose, which brand would you collab with?
Which brand would I collab with?
Yeah.
So many
Man,
brands.
right now, I would probably, I would love to collab with Kid Super. That would be crazy. I love the way that guy thinks, the way he puts his twist and creativity um, through fashion is different than anybody I've ever seen. And I love how he mixes the immersive experience of art with fashion. That's something I love to do, and that would just be a dream collab.
So how I saw that you did a collab with Breakaway.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how does that work?
That was, I actually used to throw music festivals as well. That was something I did in the past.
Man,
So
everything.
shout out What Fest. Yeah, but I know a lot of those guys who start Breakaway, and they reached out to me wanting to do a collab. It was this whole Midwest brand type of concept they had. So it was me, it was Midwest Kids, and it was Made & Co. The three of us each did our own kind of you know, limited breakaway merch, and we all sold it on site at the event. And it was really dope. That was probably one of my most fun collabs I've done.
Right.
And yeah, I actually got some new stuff I'm working on with them now too.
Oh, really? Yeah, that is coming up. I know a few DJs that's DJing for that.
Yep.
Sitting down and thinking about like your next graphic tee, where does your idea, like, where do your ideas come from?
Yeah, my ideas, they typically just come from whatever I'm into at the time. My lifestyle is expressed through all the clothing. So, I just dropped some shorts last week, and that was for the basketball tournament. So there was a little twist there. I got a golf outing next month, so I'm about to drop some merch for that. That's going to be more on like the golf aesthetic, and that could be a whole spin-off I end up doing in the future too. But it's just whatever is authentic to what I'm going through in life. That's what I'll make the shirts about. I got some shirts about like getting out in nature. Some are about sound healing. Some are about meditation, Zen gardens. Like it's all over the place, but it's also just a part of me. So I got a lot of new stuff coming for the fall, but you'll just have to wait and see.
You might have to You might have to send Curry some of that golf stuff.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
might have to.
Yeah.
Now, do all your garments and stuff like that, do they have like a little message on all of them, or?
Most of them do, yeah. It's all subtle, and it's never trying to push anything like down your throat, down your face, but it's just something, if you wear it, maybe you just approach life a little bit different that day.
So if I were to pick up one of these, you could tell me which one's on it.
Oh, for sure, bro. I know all these guys.
All right, so what's on this one before I? All right, wait. Y'all see it?
Yeah,
That's
this.
intricate.
That's
that
like
has
this
some
rhythm
levels
tee.
to it.
It's there's a lot going on in that one. That's probably one of my favorites. Definitely a fan favorite this
The color
year.
is nice.
But yeah, it's about vibrations, connecting with people, just maintaining rhythm.
You guys,
Actually, I like that shirt.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's hard.
in the back. It's definitely. I like the design concept, like you said, the vibration, the meditation.
I've never even
Yeah.
thought of that color combo.
No, the
Green
color
and-
combo is
the
definitely
green and blue.
okay.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that's crazy. That's nice. Now, who does like your styling and modeling? Do you do it yourself? How do you find? Like, do you have friends, family? Like, how do you tap into that?
It depends. I mean, I run a photography studio here in town called the Photo Lab. So that's usually where
I actually heard of that. Actually,
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do all the production and shoots there, and all the on-figure stuff is all my friends. I'll have them come out and model, and usually when we'll do more of a bigger campaign, like on the road somewhere, that'll be me, just because of budget. Can't really afford to fly some extra models and hands out there, but we'll see. Things are always changing, so
That's true.
yeah.
So is it just you behind Ransom Supply?
It's mostly me, yeah. A lot of the day-to-day is me. I've got some support here working in the store.
Right.
My girl Nicole is here on the weekends.
Mhm.
I've got an intern who helps out. And then design-wise, I work with a couple different designers too that help bring everything to life.
Okay. So the whole layout, you did this yourself?
This was me and my girl Francie.
Okay.
So she and I spent many long nights in here putting this place together, trying to measure everything, figure it out, working with different floor plans. I don't have a background in any of this at all. So again, yeah, it's like an extension of my apartment. Like this is kind of the vibe that I live by. And she helped clean it up, tidy it up. There, you know, it is what you see, and I'm sure she'd be yelling at me now if she came in. I see leaves I got to sweep up and everything. But yeah, it was the two of us putting this together.
So this is probably my favorite question to ask you. So going into this, because everybody has a vision, right? And sometimes your vision gets misdirected, so like it may change into like something else. Has that ever been like, or not ever been? Has that ever happened to you? Like going into this, like, hey, like you said, I mean, yeah, yes and no, it has changed because, like you said, it started with the face mask, and then it elevated to clothing, garments, stuff like that. But like your concept of design, I would say, has that changed?
I think it's grown. It's had subtle changes, but I think it's all like upward momentum and improvement. Everything from the quality of things to more details on packaging and all of the small stuff I take a lot more serious now. But yeah, I mean, I try to surrender to change because when you try to push against it, that's usually when things get a lot harder versus flowing with it. And yeah, I've just accepted the direction of how things go, and I try to put my vision into it, but when things come up, they always do, and just kind of problem solve, figure things out. Like I never planned on having a store, and then once I got the store, it was just supposed to be a pop-up, and now that's grown into what it is now. So things are constantly changing, and it's always scary, it's always new, but I'd rather feel uncomfortable doing those type of things and feeling too comfortable and settling or not pushing myself, because that's when I get the best work done.
100%. You have to feel comfortable. For you to be comfortable, you have to be in uncomfortable positions to figure out who you are, what you need, and how you gotta like maneuver around to get to where you want to be.
And what you can do and what you're capable of. Like I could have easily walked away from plenty of opportunities just out of fear and just being like, oh, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But just figure it out.
What's your next goal? Like, do you want to expand?
No, I would say not necessarily expand, but I do want to try to connect a lot of dots. So like my photography business is something that I also still do, running the studio. I'd love to figure out a way to merge the concept of a retail store with the studio, and mixing in real estate, just mixing in different aspects of my life to this brand, like golf, as I was saying, like that could be another offshoot. Opening up the doors for wholesale. My mind's all over the place all the time, but upward growth.
I hear a lot of connections coming from golf. I need to
get out there. Bro.
I need to get out there.
That's my wave right now. That's why you don't see me in the gym as much anymore. Shooting on different buckets.
Yeah.
Something I'm trying to figure out. So, you're on the West Coast. What made you come back here?
I mean, that was just a part of what I do, I guess. I always grew up traveling. So for me to get away and be on the road for a while is what feels comfortable. It's what feels not like home, but that's when I feel more alive and I'm able to absorb more things to inspire me to then come home and create. So seeing new places, meeting new people, that's what really like charges me. So there's nothing better than getting away for a few weeks or a month to go work remote somewhere on the next project so that I can come back and execute. Because when I'm here, I easily get distracted, and it's hard for me to stay super focused being in here all the time, or even going to a coffee shop down the street working. I just prefer to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some brands that you guys, I would say, what are some brands that you guys find appealing coming up now? Like new brands?
For me, honestly, I feel like I'm just getting into fashion. Like I've been fashionably illiterate for a long time. But I'm just starting to get into like, I don't even know how to color coordinate and stuff, and I'm actually looking for certain things now. But I don't
You
even
in the
know.
right
It
place.
doesn't even matter the brands. I'm just looking what looks good to me.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I think the under like Ryan, like what he do, like the all high fashion. I want to say it's played out, but again, most people want to wear it because the tag of it.
Yeah.
So like most people that like have their own stores and people that don't know about it yet, I feel like that's in style more than the high fashion now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because with the high fashion, you're paying $1,500 for something that you only gonna wear for one day.
Right. And then you can't be seen wearing it every week.
Yeah, exactly.
too, you know?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's too flashy.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Exactly.
definitely
Like,
wore
you just
that.
had that on.
Yeah, see
Might go
it,
to the washer.
see it every weekend at Standard. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you just wore that last week. You
Mhm.
gonna switch it up with some new jeans?
Right,
So it's
right.
like,
I think too, like fashion to me is it's not the value, it's how you put it together.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
You can go to a thrift store and put something together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You get multi compliments from it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, to me, it's what you see and it's your vision behind what you're wearing.
Exactly.
You
Right.
know? I feel like that's the most emotion you're gonna get from anything because you just same with designs too. Like if you half-ass a design and you go buy something because it's so expensive, like yeah, someone's gonna notice it, but 9 times out of 10 is like, what's next?
Right.
You're not gonna know what's next. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like you'll be trying to like find the next high-end item, but then now it's like, now you can't afford your bills.
Right.
Missing car payments.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Can't do that.
I think the mindset of fashion got so steered away with like all these like popular name brands. You know, name brands taking away, like trying to take away the fashion image so away. Like it's trying to separate the image of fashion because it comes from like that older like European fashion with like all the what are the fashion moguls. I'm trying to think.
Like
Fashion designers, the
Yeah,
old
yeah.
the old European fashion designers. I don't know why I can think of that. That's crazy.
Right.
But like that's where like a lot of fashion originated from. Like you
Mhm.
don't know that, but and it's like so heavily priced over there because you got to think about like all the stuff that's being shipped across from the U.S. It's getting taxed and it's getting I forget the word. You know what I'm talking about? When
Mhm.
like you buy something from like Europe or China and then you import it to U.S.
It's like tariffs? Not tariffs.
No.
That's like
Like the duty taxes and
Yeah.
and everything.
So like the fluctuation, like what you pay over here, is gonna be more than what you pay over there.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So when people are like wearing that stuff in Europe and they're like, oh yeah, Louis and all this and Gucci, and it's like they're paying less than what you're paying over here. Like one of my friends, he like was stationed in Japan, and he was like getting all this bait, and I'm like, man, how you getting all this bait, bro? Like.
Mhm.
You were paying an arm and a leg, you're paying rent payment, car payments and stuff. And I'm like, it's crazy. He's like, yeah, bro, I'm getting this for like $100. Like,
It's cheaper.
$120, like nothing. But yeah,
I
it's
mean,
crazy to see.
I just feel like with celebrities, most people see what celebrities wear and then they buy it. So
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, say for example, Ryan send his shirt to like a celebrity. That celebrity wear it, then everybody else gonna buy it.
Yeah.
So fashion can come from celebrities too, depending on what they wear.
Yeah, for sure. And then even now with social media and these like micro influencers, and you can have a really good reach with people who don't have this huge status. They're
Yeah.
just like more your local celebrities, and it's like if you have the right people in your stuff, then that can spread just as fast too.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah, I think too, like more so than ever, you need to have the right circle and the right people around you too. You know,
Right.
especially when you're trying to grow and find your vision to like push out to people. You need to have the right support.
Mm-hmm.
Your support system matters more than anything.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we was at Target in Texas. Sean threw on a fit from Target. Like it kind of it was basic, but
yeah.
it snapped.
Yeah,
So it's
it was
like
Target.
you could put on, you can make something out of nothing for
Yeah,
real.
Target ain't bad if you know what you're looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
We was rushing him. We was like, yo, hurry up. He was like, let me take my time. I'm like, you got it. I think it was like a black shirt and some
I don't even remember.
khaki
That's how basic
pants.
it
I
was.
think it was. But like it's not. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, because they Spirit left my stuff in
okay.
what, Orlando. I was
Yeah.
sick.
Fly Spirit.
I was sick.
Damn.
so,
That was my first and last time with Spirit. I can't do it.
Never again.
Never again.
So do you think you could ever see yourself maybe being like a fashion designer for, I don't know, like the Met Gala?
Probably not in that realm, honestly, man. Like where I see myself in the future is really realistically more on that art director level for a brand that I'm passionate about and that I can relate to, and really can support me to bring my true ideas to life. Because right now I'm still operating at like such a small level of what I think I'm capable of, just because I'm self-funded, and it's like the ideas that I want to put out there that I just need the right team, the right support to do that. And I think that means probably working for a bigger brand, bigger company, and really being able to see it through.
Right.
But yeah, like I'm not trying to be a high fashion designer for any of these houses, but you know, I'll still support them. I still love to watch how that world operates. But for me, it's more on like the production side and the execution and bringing all the right pieces together. Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
That's a good mindset to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can do that in so many aspects too nowadays.
Yep.
So many lanes you can tap in. It's crazy that you're like multi-talented and so many different lanes. It's kind of crazy. It's like inspiring too in a way to make you think like just growing up or just like being that person. Like, hey, like why stick to one thing when you can do more than just one thing? You know?
Yeah, that was always my biggest, like, I used to think it was a problem when I was younger because I would follow what inspired me, but then once I figured it out, it wouldn't be like as thrilling, and I'd see something else over here and I'd be like, oh, that's dope, and then I'd go try and learn about that, soak it all up. And then once I honestly started watching how Pharrell moved and how he grew, it's like he started out so deeply in music, but then he jumped over to fashion, and then he jumped over to design and was like making chairs, and he moved over here, and now he's in skincare. And like once I was able to see, that's just one example, but that you can do multiple mediums and do them well. That gave me a lot more confidence to be like, yeah, I can be a photographer one day, and then I can also have a brand and run a business and do that, you know, just with the right mindset and the right confidence.
Expanding your palette.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get that. I feel like I'm definitely struggling right now with feeling like I can do different things, because like we got our YouTube channel, and I'm trying to DJ, and it's weird trying to work on both at the same time.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of conflict sometimes.
for sure. But I mean, that's the good part about being a creative is you got the option. At least you got the outlet. Some people are just stuck behind the cubicle all day, staring at screens, and they're doing one thing, but they're hating it.
Some people, I guess, they want to be at least confident enough to get behind the camera. I feel like a lot of people, they want to, but just the confidence.
Got any events coming up?
I mean, the next event is the Wave Runner Invitational. That's that golf outing I was telling y'all about. So I'll do like a small merch drop for that. And then after that, we got Breakaway. So that'll be later in August. And then probably end of September, early October, that'll be my big release for the fall. I'll be doing an event here. Don't have dates locked in for that yet, but yeah, keeping it moving.
You gonna have any like windbreakers?
I mean, I will have some outerwear. Yeah, I got some layers. I got all the layers for
I
you.
need beanies, dog.
Beanies,
I'm a beanie
every
man.
color, every color.
Every color.
Yeah.
I'm here every day.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If you had to give like the viewers a message, what would you give them?
I would say just try to live outside of your comfort zone consistently, because that's where growth happens, and that's where your life will change.
That's a good one. That's a gem.
With you being older, if you could tap in and like tell your younger self something, what would you tell your younger self going through all the going through the whole motion and trials and tribulations of getting to where you're at now?
I would just try to probably tell my younger self to live with a little more grace and not take things so seriously all the time. I think I have always been the hardest critic on myself because I am a creative. So as soon as I put something out, I'm very quick to judge it and critique it harder than anybody else will, even when it is good work. And just understanding that it's the growth over time that makes you good. Just not to be so hard on myself.
I get that. I feel like people that aren't creatives, it just doesn't go through their head sometimes.
Yeah.
They just think it just happens, and that's
Right.
just not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely doesn't just
Different
happen.
world.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Different world. All right, as we come to the end of the discussion, I would like to thank Ryan and They Love Us.
Yes, sir. Let them know your IG.
Oh yeah, IG at Ransom Supply, personals at RookieRansom. Give me a follow. Appreciate the support. All love.
What's your guys' Instagram?
They Love Us. Love has 2 E's. That's
Love
it.
Us, 2 E's.
Yeah, 2
Love
E's.
it. Love to see it. Love to see
Love
it.
it.
All right, but thank you guys for tuning in. Looking forward to the next episode. Thank you. That was good, man. Nice work.